So we're activating through the feet, bringing the feet as close towards each other as is comfortable. We're just going to lift all of the toes and then place the big toe down, and then the other toes just rest gently on the floor. Soften the knees and then lengthening up through the legs without locking in the knees, lifting the front hip bones now and feeling the activation across the lower front abdomen. Lift the rib cage away from the pelvis, broaden the shoulders, lengthen the arms, broaden the finger bases, and commence the slow, deep inhale, slow, long exhalation. There may be a whisper on the breath here. And then we're going to inhale to Utkatasana, rising up through the hand. Exhale, folding forwards into the forward bend, perhaps releasing the back of the neck and lengthening the legs. And then bending the knees, lengthen the spine into the fingertips. Exhaling, stepping back into a plank and staying there, floating in space. We'll inhale here in the plank. Exhale very slowly down, perhaps dropping the knees first and then lowering the body to the floor. Inhale onto the tops of the feet and into the low cobra. Exhale, releasing. Tucking the toes, lifting up on the inhale to hands and knees, buttocks onto the heels. Exhale into the down dog. We're going to stay a few moments into the down dog, one heel at a time, moving towards the floor. So lengthening one leg at a time, grounding through the hands, broaden across the shoulders. And you're still breathing into the rib cage. Long, slow inhale, long, slow exhale. There's a whisper on the breath, and this whisper provides a soundtrack for your practice. And on the next inhalation, we're going to bring the right knee into the chest, the foot to the floor, or perhaps assisting the foot forwards with the right hand. Bring the back heel down, ground through the back foot as you float up. We're in Warrior One. Broaden across the shoulders. And now just focus on the breathing body. Inhaling slowly. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Continue breathing slowly and deeply. Broaden in every direction. See if you can brighten out of any collapse across the body. So you're making a scan from the feet, through the knees, up to the pelvis, up through the spine, all the way up into the fingertips. Last inhale here. And then floating the hands to the floor, take the weight. The front foot comes back, we're in a plank. And then we inhale in the plank. Exhale, floating to the floor, perhaps the knees come down first. Inhale into the low cobra. Exhale, releasing. Tuck toes, hands and knees, buttocks on heels. And back into down dog. Spending some time in down dog, either in movement or in stillness, perhaps grounding both heels towards the floor as you lift up into the tailbone, broaden across the shoulders and the buttocks, lengthen through the legs and the arms, and then ground through hands and feet. On the next inhalation, the left knee to the chest, foot to the floor, back foot down, and then float all the way up into Warrior One. So we inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4. Broadening and lengthening in every direction. Soften across the face and the eyes. Active feet, perhaps trying to lift all of the toes from the floor, so you're clarifying that each and every part of the front foot and the back foot is grounding. Last inhale here. And then the hands move to the floor, take the weight through the hands, the front foot back, exhale. And inhale in the plank, you're hovering. And then resist gravity all the way down. Perhaps the knees come first, and then the body moves to the floor. Inhale into the low cobra. Exhale, releasing. Tuck toes, inhale, hands and knees, buttocks and heels. Back into down dog. Broaden and lengthen in every direction, taking as much space as possible in the down dog. Lengthen down into the hands and the feet and then up towards the tailbone, maybe in movement, perhaps in stillness. On the next inhalation, we're moving towards the hands, so look at the hands up off the heels, bend the knees and step or jump between the hands. Bent legs, lengthened, spine at the fingertips, and then folding forwards on the exhalation into the forward bend. Inhale into Utkatasana, floating through space. Exhale to stand. Inhale, the hands just up to shoulder height, and exhale the hands back into the center. Inhale, rotate right. And exhale into the center. And left. Active feet and a lock in the knees. Lift the front hip bones and back into the center. Inhale into Utkatasana. And exhale into the forward bend, releasing the back of the neck. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine of the fingertips. Stepping back into the plank. Inhaling here. Exhaling, floating down to the floor. Inhale into the cobra. Exhale, release. Tuck toes, hands and knees, buttocks on heels. And back up to down dog. Spending a few moments in down dog, broadening and lengthening. Continuing to breathe very slowly and deeply into the rib cage. On the next inhale, bring the right knee to the chest, foot to the floor, back heel down. We're moving into warrior two. Floating up and away from the floor, brighten out through the hands and perhaps gaze into the fingernails of the right hand. Keep bending the knee over the ankle. The thigh moves towards parallel to the floor. Keep breathing slowly and deeply. Soften the tongue and the eyes, but lengthen up through the spine, and we're lifting the front hip bones here. The belly button is likely to draw inwards slightly as you lift the rib cage away from the pelvis. And the last inhale. And then we swing down, diving onto the hands. And inhaling here in the plank. Exhale, floating to the floor through Chaturanga Dandasana. And inhale into the cobra. Exhale, release. Tuck toes, hands and knees, buttocks on heels. Exhale into the down dog. And the left knee into the chest, foot to the floor, assisting that foot coming forwards if necessary, back heel down, floating up and away from the floor. And active through both feet, lifting up through the spine. Clarify the softness at the skull to neck, spine relationship. And lengthen out through the fingertips. The armpits are over the hips. Metabolize the effort that it takes through the breathing body. So no sinking on the exhalation, lift on the exhalation. Last inhale. And diving onto the hands, the front foot comes back, we're in a plank. Inhaling here. Exhale, floating to the floor. So on tops of the toes, inhale, Bhujangasana. Exhale, releasing. Tuck toes, hands and knees, buttocks on heels. Exhale into down dog. Staying in down dog for a few breaths, ground through the hands, lengthen through the arms. Broaden across the shoulders, lengthen through the spine to the tailbone. Broaden across the buttock bones, a slight inward rotation through the legs. Lengthen down to the heels and broaden across the toe bases. Bring the big toe and little toe base away from each other. The next inhalation steps or jumps forward. So off the heels, bend the knees, stepping or jumping forwards, lengthen the spine, bend the knees, and then folding forwards on the exhalation. Bending the knees to lift to Utkatasana, inhale. Exhale to stand. Inhale, float the hands to shoulder height. Exhale into the center line. Inhale, rotate right. Exhale into the center. Active feet, no lock in the knees. Left and to the center. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, folding forwards, forward bend. Inhale, bent knees, lengthen spine to the fingertips. Exhale, stepping back into the plank. Inhale here. Exhale, floating down. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, release. Tuck toes, hands and knees. Getting ready now with buttocks on the heels. Take your 2 blocks just in front of the knees, or if you don't need arm extenders, then your hands are just being placed just in front of the knees. Ground through the hands, cross the ankles behind you, and then we're pushing through the feet to lift the knees from the floor, lift the lower front ribs into the body, and then see if you could walk with the knees drawing up to the shoulders through that space. Buttocks the last to land, perhaps. And then we're just going to bend the knees, the feet drawing towards each other. Take the hands around the back of the thighs and lengthen through the spine, lifting the sternum point.
The front hips moving towards the thighs, and then walking softly back until the feet float from the floor, moving into Navasana, the boat. Perhaps leaving the hands there, or maybe floating the hands away, allowing the support through the muscles, and see if you can metabolize the effort through the breathing body. Soften the face, soften the eyes, soften the mouth. 3, 4. Last inhale.